Well, the only way to figure out whether or not this is going to work is to do it. To try it and do it. So I'll do it with this video, which is a particularly sensitive video. My last video was United Stupid States of America. Why? Because we've been deceived and manipulated. We're not in control of our government at all. And so in this video, I want to cover why America is going to be nuked, why we're going to be destroyed in a nuclear war, and where the problem began. I know the elite think they'll forget. They also think, well, time will go by, nobody will bother to look into things. But the problems in this nation began when Lyndon Baines Johnson assassinated his own president and took over the country. He didn't do it by himself. He had the entire Pentagon with him, the CIA with him, the FBI with him, even the mob. Yeah, organized crime families were behind him. And the Roman Catholic Church. Cardinal Spilling had to give his consent to the assassination of a sitting first Roman Catholic president. He consented. That's when things began. And they only got worse when Richard Nixon was in the White House. Now, I still think that Richard Nixon was set up. And I think that when people say they could tell he was lying and he was sweating profusely, I think it's because Richard Nixon knew that he was done for and there was nothing he could do. They set him up. And who walked in? His boss, his handler. What was his boss's name? Henry Kissinger. Richard Nixon apparently was crying up on the carpet when Kissinger walked in. And Kissinger told him, "Get up. You're pathetic. Resign." I think that's what he said. Now, what was the problem? Everybody points to Whitewater as being the problem. The hotel break-in. No, that really wasn't the problem. I don't think. I don't know everything. I could very well be wrong. The fact is that Richard Nixon had been in the White House and been in politics long enough that he got a little carried away. Now, he was aware of the Jews being a problem in the country, and that bleeds through in his tapes all the time. And it's not being anti-Semitic. It's defending America, because they are the enemy. This series of wars was put into play by Netanyahu in the 1990s. That's right, he's the architect of all this bullshit that's going on, and he will be the architect of the nukes being sent after the United Stupid States of America. Why? The United States can't be trusted anymore. When those two lying presidents, so to speak, got into office, that was it. All credibility was gone for the entire country. And you think, well, we're big enough, we can throw our might around. And besides that, we're going to elect another president anyway. So the United Stupid States of America is a series of mistakes. A lot of it, we stumbled into some good luck, yeah, some good blessings, some good stuff. But the fact is that we have allowed ourselves to become corrupt. We are so corrupt now that business transactions are always strained. Why? Because one son of a bitch is trying to take everything he can get, regardless of the outcome. Give you a good example of that. The car industry. Remember when they milked car prices, used car prices, new car prices? Everything they could do, they milked too far. They can't sell their products now. They're not going to be able to sell them. And I tell you, Americans, don't be stupid. Don't buy their products. Let them all rot. Let it rot. That's what the Chinese people are saying about their own corrupt government. But nobody beats the United Stupid States of America when it comes to corruption. Nobody. We laud those people that get away with such criminal, unethical, immoral stuff. We think, oh, that's cool. They got away with it. They're just, they're just taking advantage. Lorraine, what you barking for? I know, it's way after dinner time. Okay, you want to come up? Yeah, okay, all right. They can't see you there. Okay, hold on. I should have fed her before I started. I've got the motorhome closed up. The generator is running. Both air conditioners are running. The fans are on low. The bulk of the noise you're hearing is from the generator. I will look in to see what I can do to isolate it a little bit more to have less noise. But the fact is that I should be really driving to where the weather's cooler, so I don't have to run the air conditioners. That's the main idea with a rig like this, is you go to where the weather is nice and you don't have to use a lot of energy. So we are in trouble because the world is not going to be believing us. They don't believe us about anything. We can't be trusted. All of the safeguards which we took out of place, our presidents, primarily Democratic presidents, but the Republicans are just as repugnant and guilty, maybe even more so than the Democrats. What's his name? That son of a bitch that was in Massachusetts, now out of Utah, brags about, hey, that's the best money we ever spent. No Americans are dying. It's an ideal proxy war. As if that's a good thing. You dumbasses. The Soviet Union was created on Manhattan and run from a high-rise in Manhattan. They conspired in our country and did that to them. It was Jacob Schiff, Adam Schiff's grandfather, I believe, who declared the war, basically. He visited President Taft. He wanted Taft to make good on the campaign promise. And the campaign promise to the rich Jews was, we're not going to allow the Russians to have any visas. President Taft changed his mind, apparently, and decided they were going to keep issuing the visas. Jacob Schiff walked out of the White House with his entourage. I don't know how many people there were. And he stopped at the front door of the White House as he's walking out and made the announcement so everyone could hear. Gentlemen, this means war. Remember this. A fake Jew, not a real Israelite descendant, but a Khazarian or an Ashkenazi, or better yet, an Edomite, an Idumean, just like Herod the Great in the Bible. They're the ones that are behind the wars. And when Henry Ford says, you want to stop wars? Round up the 50 richest Jews in the world and isolate them. That'll stop all wars. Well, I don't know if it would or not, but am I willing to try it? Well, I think it's worth doing, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's going to cost us some money for sure, but I think it's going to be saving us money in the long run. I don't want to destroy any more of this earth. I don't want to make it less inhabitable. I don't want to destroy any of the old buildings that have still survived that they haven't torn down and destroyed on us as they hide the history and the past from us. So I think as Americans, we should say, fuck it. Let it rot. Don't participate in this government. I got a letter. My absentee ballot didn't count. They said there was no ballot inside of it. Yes, there was. Yes, there was. It doesn't count because the woman in there is supposed to be a Republican, but she's a damn Democrat. And they got upset because I was having a hard time getting my vote in. And she calls the FBI and has them harass me. Special Agent Wood Ever out of the Anchorage office. The FBI is a fucking bunch of idiots. You can't reconcile them. What you should do is this. Go to your military branches, each one of them has an intelligence group, and tell them, gentlemen, I need you to take the FBI records into possession, the computers into possession, all of their archives, and I need you to take them each into protective custody and debrief them and make a determination as to who's committed crimes, what crimes they've committed, charge them with the crimes. And those who are loyal, make sure that we know that and make sure they continue to work with us. But they don't tell you the truth. They don't solve crimes. They covered up the Kennedy assassination. And look at where that's gotten us to. It's gotten us to the point where we're going to have nukes. Exchange nukes around the world. We're going to be sending each other gifts. Yeah. Hellfire and brimstone across the whole surface, the whole face of the earth. I know there's people out there that say, well, that doesn't exist. It's some sort of psyop. Well, I got news for you. There's just way too much evidence that it's real. And I don't feel like, risking a nuclear war to find out about it. This crap about Russia being our enemy is crap. The Tsar interfered in our Revolutionary War and our Civil War. Actually came over and warned us and helped us because they had better intelligence. They'd been around for quite a bit longer. They understood what we were up against, and we didn't know what we were up against. And then after this last time, the Tsar interrupted the Rothschilds' interference over here during our Civil War, they decided to go after the Tsars. That's when the Bolsheviks were sent over by the fake Jews, the Ashkenazis, by those who are of Edomite descent, not of Israelite descent. Now, if you read it close enough, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But you've got to read it for yourself because you can't have anybody else explain it to you. Well, I can explain some of it. You can listen to the other videos. You should talk with your brothers who are reading the Bible and sisters who've been reading it and compare notes and brainstorm. Be very respectful and share your ideas. It's amazing what you can learn when you brainstorm and talk freely and openly and truthfully and have an honest dialogue about things, which they ended in America, especially in the universities. The universities can't be reconciled either. The system should be taken apart. No more special privileges. No more federal funding. No more funding at the central government level. They turn out a defective product. Look at what you have around you. Do you see how crazy it's gotten? It's gotten this way because you are above politics. You united stupid state citizen. We don't talk politics. We're above politics. That's for other people. We're prim and proper and we're sanitary. We don't get our hands dirty. That's dirty stuff. We don't even talk about that. Look, because of your stupid attitude and failure to have an open discussion and failure to engage, and couple that with your narcissism that everybody has to accept your opinion and value it equal to your own. I mean, they insist you have to give equal weight to my opinion, not just your own. That's really put the screws to us badly. And this stuff about, how dare you judge me? Christians aren't supposed to judge. Really? Go read the Bible. You're supposed to judge. You're supposed to make good judgment. You're supposed to love truth and justice and the American way. But you don't do any of that. There is no American way. America has lost its way. I know people are worried about money. There is no money, except the fact it's all been stolen. It's all gone. There's one party right now that's not identifying itself, that's demanding their gold right now. Those are the people that are in the protected class, that when the bankruptcies come down, and everybody's losing everything, they actually get to have something. You can't say enough about this country at this point. You can't shut it down tight enough right now. And it's sad, because we're going to be totally vulnerable, and we are going to be attacked. Those people that came in during the Biden administration in particular, they can't wait to be set upon us. They can't wait to do their dirty work. And they're going to do it. Our CIA is going to arm them up with full automatics with no serial numbers on them. They're going to bring in truckloads, 40-foot trucks loaded with military arms and ammunition, and give it to the enemies, their soldiers that have come across the border. Don't kid yourself. We are in a very vulnerable state. And President Trump is doing his best to kiss Bibi Netanyahu's ass, because he's the one that runs and owns America today. Bibi has got some sort of warrant out for his arrest for war crimes, which he should be arrested for. And there are a few former American presidents that should be rounded up and charged with their war crimes as well. They haven't declared war lawfully, properly, as required by our Constitution. They haven't. And I understand it's a different time. The industry, the technology is different. We have to have men willing to take action and make instant decisions. I understand that part of it. But these people aren't acting in our best interest or in self-defense. Our own government was behind this bullshit biological stuff. That's right. That's what you're going to be finding out in the next few months. It's our own government, our own corporations. And you are not going to be seeing anything happen until you see Bill Gates arrested, Soros arrested, Fauci arrested. And we need to go after some of the people abroad too. But you have to keep in mind that our own Department of Defense was behind. Actually, the Department of the Defense built that stuff. They're the ones that made it. How did you think Big Pharma got it? It was handed to them. And they were told how to administer it and what to do by the Department of Defense, the people that are behind the scenes, the evil bastards in the background making the decisions. Playing with the rest of the world. Playing games with the rest of us. The United States of America is not respected. It's not trusted. We had a chance. We had a chance to help out our old ally, and we refused to do it. We could have helped it wasn't the Soviet Union anymore. We could have helped the new Russia stabilize their economy. The Russians did it on their own. If we'd have helped them, it would have turned out just like this corrupt place. We're worse than any other country right now. There's nothing bad can happen over in Russia compared to the United Stupid States of America. All of your presidents have been run from behind the scenes by AIPAC, who is wonderfully, masterfully set the stage and manipulated everything and everyone so they can go to nukes again. Now, I don't know where the nukes were when Sodom and Gomorrah were nuked. I just know they were here. I also know there's evidence of another civilization that more recently had been nuked in the Indus Valley. Again, I don't know where the nukes came from at that time, where they were stored up, who invented them, where they came from. Look, there's a lot more going on here than what you realize. I know there's underground cities that they built for survival purposes. The crazy thing is the Bible tells you they're going to be flooded out. They're going to be drowning in those places. Okay. Well, they built their own tombs. Great. We have had much better civilizations on this planet with far more advanced technologies. So advanced they didn't need this crude stuff that we have to do and use today. They had really advanced stuff, especially when it comes to energy. But not only that, in the last Earth age, according to Solon, he was told that they had a reputation for having their legal system was far better than any of the legal systems during this particular Earth age. You don't know what an Earth age is? Watch my other videos. I tell you exactly 12,068 years, except for one period which was a little bit shorter. And I think that's when the fallen angels were knocked to the ground, out of space. You know, you can kill the Jews, you can kill the whatever it is you hate, the Muslims, you can kill the, I don't know, whoever the hell you think it is running things behind the scenes. You can kill everybody you want. But the problem is you lose. That's not a winning move. And don't get me wrong, I think that a lot of them need to be executed, but they need to be properly tried, sentenced, given a chance to defend themselves. Yeah, it's going to take time, going to take energy. Some don't deserve that, to be quite frank. We are in trouble. And we are going to get nuked. Why? Because nobody can trust us. Are we trustworthy? Not since LBJ and Richard Nixon occupied the White House. You had a Democrat and a Republican that destroyed any credibility this country had. They don't need to respect us. Yeah, they need to fear us. They need to be worried about us because we don't hold to our word. We don't make honest agreements. We don't even do that among our own people. Hell, you had them charging so stupid much for cars, and now they can't sell them. I pray to God they don't sell another one, that they just sit on the lots and sit on their asses and teach the salesmen, teach the auto industry, teach everybody a lesson. You got to make a fair, honest deal. It's okay to make a profit. It's okay. It's good to make a profit. It's good to make a living. But you got to look out for the other guy. You can't just take advantage because they aren't aware of what you're aware of. You know, you cannot do that. This is the kind of trouble you get into. Now, most people right now, their transactions and contracts go haywire because somebody screws up. I hired a damn attorney in Texas, and I didn't realize it till my housemate asked me, how much did he take? And I thought he took just a little less than half, but then I realized when I had the $5,000 retainer to it, he took the lion's share. He took far more than half. And that was after he lied about just taking the retainer and not charging me anymore. So I don't trust the attorneys at all. I want to see us enforce the real 13th Amendment against the Bar Association attorneys. Well, that's not proper, Dr. Kent. That's not kind. Yes, it is, because they lie to us all the time. They don't tell us the truth about this foreign jurisdiction that has been superimposed upon us. That's right. They don't even know about it. But ignorance of the law is what? No excuse. It's no excuse. I'm looking forward to when the attorneys say that en masse. Large swaths, all the Bar Association attorneys crying because we're not allowed to make a living here. No, you're not. That's the law of the land by the 13th Amendment. Sure, you buried it and you hid it, and you did a lot. You worked with the Crown of England. You worked with the King of England. And then Abraham Lincoln, whose father's name was A. Springs, Springs being short for Springsteen, Abraham Lincoln was our first Jewish president. I believe he was a 3-in-1 man. I believe he was 3 races in one. I believe he was highly conflicted. And when he said the races are not compatible, he knew, because he had to deal with the fact that he was black, American Indian, and white Jewish all at one time. He was also taller and lanky. He may have actually had some Nephilim in him, for all I know. And the sad thing is, he had a concave chest. Marstan syndrome, which makes a fellow prone to being depressed, and it shortens his life a little bit. Lincoln may have come around later. He came around far enough that they went ahead and murdered him. Now, we still don't know who pulled the trigger, but I'm open-minded. It could have been Mrs. Lincoln. It's a possibility. The motive is there. And the evidence for it, somewhat there. We should investigate that assassination. And you will find that there were some really important men in the South that had compromised the whole country. They were working with the Jesuits and the Rothschilds. And they were going to break up the United States of America between them. They were going to divide it and exploit it. But the Tsar of Russia sent his navy over, stationed his navy in 2 of our harbors, New York Harbor and San Francisco. At the end of the war, Abraham Lincoln asked the Tsar, "How can I ever thank you for the use of your navy? Because if he didn't put his navy there, the other fleets would have come, and we didn't have a navy at all. Our big brother, our older brother, that's right, they are Israelites. The Tsars are Israelites. He was the wealthiest man in the world, and he got his wealth legitimately. The wealthiest man in the world at the turn of the following century stole it. His name was Sir Lionel de Rothschild. Sir Evelyn de Rothschild. Nice man's name, huh? No wonder they push the trans agenda. They push it because that ugly religion's been there the whole time, where they mutilate themselves and castrate themselves, and they get all kinds of special powers. That's what they believe. Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter. That's what they believe. They could be right. Certainly looks like they get rewarded, especially the weird trannies in Hollywood. They are marched out there. They are given so much money, all because they bow down and worship Satan. The United States is going to be nuked. That's all there is to it. I can't stop it. I can read about it in the Bible. I'll do a Bible study on it. I'll pull it. I'll present it to you. I will show to you that the coming nuclear war is in the Bible. But it's like, why bother? There's nothing I can do to stop it or even put a wrinkle in it. Why bother? Well, I think I can put a wrinkle in it. I think you can too. But if you give up the idea that I'm going to kill the other son of a bitch, and you focus instead upon legitimate means of getting justice, same for me as is for you, then we might be able to have Yahweh step in and fight for us. Yes, it's true for me as well. I get angry. I get outraged. I swear I'm going to take harsh action, knowing full well that, no, you're not. No, you're not going to do that. Because you know that that would actually be condemning you rather than getting justice. Who does vengeance belong to? She's got her head on my foot trying to get my attention, I guess. I need you to help me. I think it's time that we open the channel up and get other people involved. The last video, one comment, everybody needs to hear that message. We have been deceived. Now, Eve also had been deceived. And what did Eve become? She became a deceiver. She lied to Adam about the paternity of their son Cain. It wasn't their son. It was the fallen angel Gadriel's son with Eve. Eve had been deceived, and Eve became a deceiver. Americans, you've been deceived. So what do you do now? The worst thing is you lie to yourself. You convince yourself that certain things are real and true, and they're not. Your opinion isn't more valuable. Well, it does have more value to you, yes, but it isn't more value to anybody else unless you enter into a dialogue with them and somehow or other they come to your side. Or maybe you go to their side, but you're not willing to talk about it because it's politics and religion. We don't talk about that. Why not? Why not talk theoretically and intelligently and intellectually and keep it on a rational level, not an emotional level? And why not have the consideration that it could mean more than one thing? More than one thing can be true at the same time. I'm so glad that Trump catered to Netanyahu, and he's boasting about how they're going to make Gaza into a paradise that people are going to want to live in, luxury homes. I don't know if he said he was trying to build casinos there or whatever. Probably wants to put a Trump hotel up there. Well, I think we ought to just vacate the land and not allow anybody into it except the people that rightfully owned it. Let them go back. Let them go to court and reclaim their old homelands that were wrested from them since 1948 and before. Why not? I know it'll take a long time, but if the Israelis refuse to allow those things to go through the courts so that truth and justice can be administered, well, Kissinger may be right. What did Kissinger say that was so important? The only thing that scares me to think, I agree with Henry. Yeah, I agree with Henry. Henry said that in order for there to be world peace, Israel would have to cease to exist as a nation. That's what Henry Kissinger pronounced. And I think he knows a thing or two. Hell, the last I knew, he was $750 an hour, which was a lot of money back then when he was working at that. Anyway, we invited these people in who claimed they were the victims. Turns out they're the predators. They've been the predators in every country that's allowed them to be inside there. And sadly, my ancestors carried them across the English Channel back into England in 1066. We didn't know about them. I don't think we did. then Cromwell shows up and opens the floodgates big. The king gets not just dethroned, but beheaded. There's no king for a decade. Parliament rules England. Things get really haywire. They finally executed Cromwell. There's so much to learn. There's so much real history that needs to be unfolded. Now, I didn't like Gorbachev very much, but Jeffrey Sachs, Professor Sachs, has read all that stuff. And so I value his opinion. And he says Gorbachev was probably the best politician of his lifetime, the best statesman of his lifetime. Really? Gorbachev? And I had a girlfriend in graduate school that, I don't know, we really didn't get along all that well. She was from Mexico, and she was in the upper class, which is light-skinned down there, in case you're wondering. They're very racially minded down there. And her father was very high in the food chain. He owned the insurance company that everybody had to, if you want to take your car into Mexico, it had to be bonded. And she explained it to me, and it sounded corrupt as hell, but it was business, and it was what the government set up for him. Because you can't just take your car and leave it there. So it was bonded so that if it was stolen from you or anything happened, they would get it back to you, get it recovered, supposedly. That's what the idea was. But I think it was just to shake us down more. She gave Gorbachev some Medal of Freedom or World Peace Medal. It's a shame that all we have are con artists in office. That's all they are. Every one of them's a damn con artist. They don't tell you the truth about much of anything. They take unfair advantage. To a large extent, they get the government to set up the advantage. And that's true even of Elon Musk. Elon Musk got all those people buying his electric cars because the government gave them, what, $7,500 or $10,000 or something in tax credits? I'd like to see Elon pay that back. I think that was unfair as hell. Oh, and by the way, if he pays it back, I don't want a check to be sent out. I want them to reduce the money supply, thereby increasing the value of what money is in our pockets. And this $5,000 check, why is it $5,000? The $1,400 check, I understood. That was a price of a baby on their human, whatever it was, market. I don't know what to call it. I don't want to give it a name as if it was a legitimate thing, but you paid $1,400 for one of those babies. Not you and not me, but the evil people did that so they could, play with the children. And the guideline was just to remember to eat your pizza when you're finished playing with it. So I guess the guideline was you can do anything you want to this baby. It's yours. But you have to physically eat it, so there's no evidence later on. That's the rule. I think that's the rule. But the $1,400 was the market price for a baby on the market. So I heard now. I could be wrong. I actually hope I am. So, I don't know what you want to do. I don't know what you're going to do. But all I can do is make videos and try to tell you and motivate you to seek the truth. And I can beg you, please turn to Yahweh. Please read the Bible. Please cultivate the Holy Spirit. It's your ultimate weapon, your ultimate defense weapon. You need to have it. You need that divine protection. And you need the truth that's actually written in the Bible. Even the evil ones are reading from the Bible and acting out the play and doing what it says in the Bible. Now, I don't know what else to say about that. That really bothers me because they know it quite well. But there are passages in there about you will eat your children. And so they have a market. They buy up the fetuses. And I guess these brokers for baby body parts, like to buy Ferraris or something. All I know is that they're feeding it to us. Ask your big corporations that are into flavor enhancing and other things. You got cosmetics made from the foreskins of male babies' penises. You have soft drinks that are flavored with the kidney tissue from black Negro females. You need to understand, it's more ugly than anything you can ever imagine. This is hell on earth. And we're supposed to actually establish heaven on earth, in case you're wondering. In order to establish heaven on earth, what do you have to do? You have to have a Bible reading population, and you have to agree to abide by the 10 Commandments. I don't think that's impossible. I think the Muslims can agree to the 10 Commandments. The Zen Buddhists can agree to the 10 Commandments. I think they're pretty agreeable. The only ones who can't agree to it are the ones who read the Babylonian Talmud, because they got a much more intricate law. Theirs is very legalistic, and you can pretty much do what you want. You just have to do it within the framework and the guidelines that the rabbis dictated. And by the way, they didn't put that in writing until about 400 A.D. Get that right? A.D. Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. 4 centuries after the year of our Lord. What does that mean? Well, let me spell it out, since it's the United Stupid States of America. It means there was no Judeo-Christian heritage, as if the Jewish religion came first. It did not. And I will be making a video about salvation. It's the biggest most perplexing thing there is. It could be that both things are true, and I'll get into that in another video. But right now it's a little too cold from the air conditioning. The sun is setting, and I'm tired of burning diesel to stay a little bit cooler. But at least the air conditioners are working. It's hard to get good work. I really don't want to criticize anybody right now, because I'm in the middle of trying to get people to finish doing what they were supposed to do. But let's be honest with each other, and let's be fair. It's okay to make a profit. It's okay to earn a wage. It's okay. It's noble to support yourself and not be dependent upon others. But this idea that you're not supposed to charge your brothers and sisters, hold on. Doesn't the laborer deserve his wages? Be fair about it. Be fair to each other. That's the best thing you can do. But we live in the United Stupid States of America, where if you can get one up on the other guy, well, good for you. All right. Stick it to him. Yeah, real hard. It's ridiculous. No wonder things are off the charts. Now, my family, it wasn't a biblical household. It wasn't a Christian household. And I don't even like the word Christian. If you follow this channel, you'll understand why I complain about it. But the fact is, that's what most of us call ourselves anyway. My old friend, who's been deceased for a decade or so, he liked to call ourselves, he called it biblical Christianity. That was probably the best thing. He also called it Christian Israelite Christian. What did Yahshua call it? The faith of our fathers. And my father is your father. That's what he said to us. He also called it the way. He said, I am the way. Well, thank you for taking some time with me. Yes, I'm highly conflicted, internally conflicted. I'm still working out my own stuff and still growing at this age. And I have problems sticking up for myself. I know that. It was not, the family wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and they didn't like me because I was intelligent and I spoke the truth and I tried to look out for others, and they just resented me for it. Nothing but resentment. So it's like, okay, fine. May Yahweh bless.